Welcome to another fun episode of Simply Ann. Here is my project for this week. It's this Love You Sending Blessings, kind of a cheer up card. On the inside it says, "You're in my thoughts, you're in my heart." Some of the techniques I used are adding some pearls along the top of this, lots of foam taping, so lots of dimension on this card, and trimming off the edge of this label, tucking in the ends of the ribbon, and also customizing your own printing on your blank die cut pieces. On the inside I have another technique for this frame and this woven kind of flourish ribbon is another fun look, which I like a lot. Some of the elements I'm using this week include the lemonade stand artful card kit, which I mainly use, and here's all the kind of sheets in this kit, and I'll review this at the very end of the episode so you can see what's in the Money Saver bundle. Now you're also gonna get this set of ribbons. We're missing the yellow here, but that's the only one. I'm using this fun bright red ribbon, and I'm also using two sizes of adhesive pearls, 5mm and 3mm. So without further delay, please let's get into the project making this beautiful card. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cut my green paper to the exact size of my card here. Now the reason why I'm not gluing it down right away is because later on I'm going to want to glue some ends of ribbons underneath my paper before I glue it on the card front. And that makes the edges very neat and tidy, and no frayed ribbon ends will be showing. So basically it's the same process to cut the right size for your card, except I'm not using glue. I'm just going to be using my retractable penknife and a ruler, and just making sure that my paper and my card are lined up perfectly, and just cut that green paper along the ruler. To the exact size of your card. Okay, so there's my piece of paper, and it fits exactly on my card front. But don't glue it down yet. I'm going to actually set my card aside, finish the card front, and then glue it down. Now I'm using this beautiful floral paper, and I'm actually going to measure along the top 3.5 inches from the edge, make just a little mark, and then along the side, same thing, 3.5, a little mark here. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the metal edged part of my ruler, line up those two marks, and cut along the ruler. So this will give me the exact size triangle I need to go on my card. So I'm going to glue it down right there. Alright, so now that we've got that done, I'm going to start popping out some of the pieces I'd like to use, starting with this long eyelet border. And you can just punch it out. I usually press from the back of the sheet forward, and that's just because sometimes if you do it the other way, some of the nibs can tear. And the other method I like to do is to actually pre-cut my nibs, and this is a little bit tedious, but I find it just makes a really smooth look, and there's no work to do after you punch it out. So this is how I do it. I take my knife and look at which nibs are still intact. All of them right now, but I just kind of slice through them make a little slice. And these are pretty predictable. There's one on each bump on either side of the border. So it actually doesn't take that long to do this strip. Now you could do the same thing for these inner ones. I'm going to leave the circles intact, but I will pop these out, these teardrops. Alright, we're almost there. So there's the end, if you can see that. So once we're done with that, the border pops out nice and cleanly. And the nibs have practically disappeared. So that's great. Now I'm gonna pop out all of these little guys by just making a little slice, and you can just kind of punch them out like that. So now I'm measuring how much of this border I need to cover this edge right here. And I'm actually going to take a pencil, and I want it to end kind of the same way this ends here. So I'm going to kind of sketch over here some curves that just match the holes. So I'm going to cut this out. There, you can see a little better how I've kind of made this curve similar to the other end curve. So I'm just going to cut that edge out and place it on the card. Alright, so now I have this perfect length, and I'm going to take foam tape, place it on the back. You might have to kind of cut tiny pieces for these kind of thinner edges here, but I'm going to foam tape that right there. So now that we're all done foam taping this guy on, I'm going to cut another triangle from this blue floral paper. Just using the same technique as the other one, except this time it's just going to be a little bit smaller triangle. So I'm going to measure 3 inches in from each edge, right there, and right there, and cut that triangle out. Okay, and then I'm going to glue it onto the bottom left corner. Alright, now I'm taking my red satin ribbon and I'm just going to put it along this triangle. Snip it just longer than what you need. And now I'm going to take my trusty zips. And these are those long glue lines, perfect for attaching ribbons. And measure about how much I'm going to need. Trim that off. And then flip it over so the sticky side's down. Kind of line up the glue with the triangle here. And place it down right there. I'm going to peel off my backing, and you can kind of see that shiny glue strip. Alright, simply place down your ribbon, leaving a little bit of excess at each end. There. And then on the back, I'm going to use a little bit more zips to attach the ends. I'm just going to place this right on the ribbon itself, and then fold it back onto the card, or the card front I should say. It's not glued down to the card yet. And same with the other end. And those are secured pretty tightly. Okay, now we've got the ribbon nice and secure. So now I've cut out this love you greeting, and that's from the page of greetings and blank labels. And I've also punched out this pretty cardstock label. So right now I'm going to foam tape this love you right in the center of this label. But I'm going to make the foam tape start right about here because I'm going to end up cutting this side off. So we'll put the foam tape on the back. Just a short piece here. Let's see, right about there. And peel off the backing and stick it kind of in the middle here. So that looks pretty good. So when we put it on our card, I'm placing it up here in the corner. So this right here is going to get chopped off. Alright, so I'm going to glue it down. And I actually left these little holes in. I think I'm going to put some pearls on top of them. So put some glue. And glue that down right about there. So now you've got several different levels on your card. You've got the flat background level. There's this ribbon which sticks up a little bit. This one is on foam tape and it's also cardstock, so that's a nice dimensional item. And then this is the cardstock glued straight to the back, plus this foam taped greeting. So lots of layering and dimension can be done with these awesome artful card kits. Alright, on the back, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the excess. Okay. One of my favorite pieces in this set is this cute bicycle. So I'm just going to foam tape this bicycle right about there. So now that I've got my bicycle on, I've placed some glue stick on the back of this blank yellow banner, and I'm just going to glue it right up here in the top corner. I'm going to slide it over just a little bit. And I've got some foam tape on the back of these cute little butterflies, and I'm going to make this into a little butterfly banner, or pennant, whichever you want to call it. Alright, now I want to add a second banner going across the bottom, but it's going to come off the card a little bit. So I'm just going to mark it right here where it's going to be cut. And I'm actually going to computer journal onto this die cut piece. Alright, so I printed out a greeting just on a blank piece of paper, and I've kind of marked where this little banner is going to go. So trying to line it up straight here. Just gonna make a line just to make it clearer. So that's where I'm gonna tape it, and I'm just going to use regular clear tape and put it in a loop here, since I'm gonna want to peel it off right after I print again. and stick on my die cut piece right where I traced around it. And it's easier to see where to put it if you kind of put it up to the light and kind of look through the paper so you can see both the shape and the greeting. So now I'm going to put it through my printer again, and hopefully the sending blessings will land right about here. And I just wanted to note, I have a laser printer. I'm not sure how well the inkjet printers work, but you just kind of have to do trial and error. It might just take a little bit longer to dry, but let's see what the laser printer does. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And just gonna peel it right off the tape. Now I'm ready to put it on my card right about there and trim off the excess. I think I'm gonna put it on foam tape actually. I'm gonna trim it first here. And then put some foam tape on. And place it right about there. Now I'm just going to throw on a couple more butterflies, right kind of in the empty space here, to balance it out. And those are on foam tape. Okay, now I'm going to embellish with some pretty pearls. So I've got the 5mm pearls and the 3mm pearls. With the 5mm, I'm going to place one in each of these little dots, and that's why I hadn't punched them out in the beginning, so that there would be an area there to place them at. So I usually just kind of slice one off at a time, stick one on the tip of my knife, and looks like there's a little piece of something on there. Place it down, and they stick right on, and they have pretty good adhesion, so they won't come off very easily. And just do the same thing for the whole strip. And I really like how these just make the card look so much more elegant, and they do add a lot of dimension too. Now I'm also going to stick one on the end of this label here. And now moving on to the 3mm tiny pearls. I'm going to put one each on the centers of the wheels here, since there's already a place for them, pretty much. Kind of a no-brainer. And then I'm going to center some of these butterflies with them. So here's my completed card front, and now I can glue it onto the front of my card. Easiest way to do it when you're using this method where you do the card front first before gluing it on is to cover your card with glue stick. It's kind of hard to cover the paper with glue sticks because there's so many different three-dimensional items on there. Make sure your fold's at the top and just line up this, and since we already measured it before, we know that it has an exact fit. And just kind of press everything down, and voila, there's your card front. Now time to move to the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this really tiny print paper, and just like on the front, I'm going to cut it to the size of the inside, and I want to make sure to not make it go right up to the folded edge, because when you fold it, it might have, oops, some ribbon on there. It might have trouble closing all the way, and then you'll get some funny creases in there. So about, I would say a couple millimeters away from the fold would be fine. So I'm just holding it on here, flipping it over, and then I'm just going to trim off the excess, just like I did on the front. So now I've got this perfectly sized piece of paper, and it's still separate from the card because I am going to use ribbon again, sort of like on the front, just in a little bit different way. But first, I've cut this blue floral triangle. It's the exact same size as this one, so just measure 3 inches here and 3 inches here and make a cut across. And then I'm going to glue this on. To the bottom left corner here. So it's already matching the front of the card, just with a little bit different pattern here. So now that I've got that glued on, I'm going to take this really pretty flourish die cut and take some red ribbon. I'm going to thread it over the center here. So it's kind of woven in those little swirls, and then these ends will be kind of tucked like that and like that. So this piece is going to get glued right down here. So I'm going to pull my ribbon right about there. So leaving about a 1/2 inch extra ribbon on either side. Just gonna make a little cut. So again, just measuring my zips to the right length and pressing it down along the edge of this blue floral piece. Sometimes you kind of check where the glue is landing here, because it is clear and hard to see sometimes. So I'm just gonna place a little bit of glue stick on the parts that will not be stuck down by the zips, just so they have a little more security there. And then just place it right across the zips here. Okay. Now, same thing as on the front. I'm going to flip it over, place some more zips just at the ends of the ribbon here, and secure it to the back of this paper. And that just gives it such a neat and tidy look with the ends of the ribbons tucked in between the layers of the paper and the back of the card. So you don't have to worry about any of your ribbon ends showing, fraying, or moving. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my card, and I'm going to place glue stick all over the back here. And just make sure that you get enough glue, especially on the edges here, because the ribbon will be stuck there. So just make sure you got everything covered. And I'm going to place my background here, perfectly lined up, right about there. Okay, it's looking great. Let's take a look at how the ribbon ends look. Nice and neat, flush with the card, and they're all tucked in between the paper and the cardstock of the card. Now I've cut this piece out for my inside greeting, which was right here on the sheet of greetings, and that's what's going to be on the inside. Now I have another little technique to show you. I've got I've already punched out quite a few pieces on here, but I've got this really nice big frame and I like the shape of it. However, I want to use a little bit different paper. So I'm just gonna pop it out here, and I'm actually gonna use this outer shape, the evacuated area of the frame, or I could use the frame itself. But I'm gonna use it as a template to cut out my own frame or background piece. So I've cut through all the nibs here so it comes out real easily. So you could use either this piece or the opening. I'm just gonna use the frame itself. So I'm gonna take this really pretty red paper, which is what I want this frame to be, turn it to the back, and just trace all around it, both on the outside line. Well, actually, I'm just going to do the outside line since it's going to be a mat for, sorry, let me scoot this up. Since it's going to be a mat for my greeting here, I can just have this large piece go behind it. So I just need to trace this outside, trying to make sure nothing moves as I hold this down. And it's a really neat feature about these die cut sheets is that you can actually keep this sheet and trace, say you want a banner that looks like this, you can just trace that on any paper and cut it out, and it kind of just acts as a template. Alright, so I'm going to cut this out. First I'm going to just cut it out. Cut out the shape really quickly so I don't have that excess paper hanging around. And let's see what comes out of this when I'm done. Okay, so now I have my custom shape. And now I'm going to ink the edges a little bit to kind of give them a little definition with some Timber Brown StazOn. It's a really nice deep brown color, which I like. Just using a cosmetic wedge here, just swiping along these edges, and you can ink it as little or as much as you like. So now I'm just going to glue my greeting right in the center of my shape. Just really simple. Okay. Now when I take it to the card, see how that fits. So I kind of want to tuck it behind this corner here so that's in the center. Now since I've already kind of glued this down, I'm just going to have to peel it up a little bit. And if that's not working, you can also just do a shortcut and trim this corner off so that it'll go as far as you need it to. Just gonna trim a little bit. If I had planned ahead, I would have glued this on first, but sometimes you just know what you want at some times, and other times you have to go with the flow and see what happens. So I'm gonna glue it down kind of in the center here, right about there. Okay, so we're nearly done. I've just now tied a small bow with this white satin ribbon that comes in the lemonade stand ribbon set as well. And I've got some zots here, and those are the dot version of the zips. They're just real sticky, so I pressed my bow, the center of it, onto a couple of zots here just to make sure it gets secure. And then, now that the zots are on the bow, I'm going to put it up here in the corner. Okay, so that's the inside of the card. And oops, here is the completed product. I really like how it turned out, and I love the cheeriness of the bicycle. So it says, "Love you, sending blessings, and you're in my thoughts, you're in my heart." And you can definitely, of course, personalize this to say whatever you want it to say. There are a lot of blanks on this sheet that you can handwrite or print or stamp on. And so pretty much any occasion you can convert this card into. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and let me show you what's in the savings bundle. First in the savings bundle, of course, we have the Lemonade Stand Artful Card Kit, which I've used extensively on this card. And you'll see on the packaging, we give you some card ideas. And these do include the insides of the card, so that's helpful. This is an image of pretty much everything in the set. There are 109 pieces, so quite a few pieces to choose from. Taking a look at the papers quickly, here's the yellow with some pretty chevrons, the beautiful blue floral, and the green, which I used on the card. A teal dot, and it looks like tiny little lemons in there, and that kind of goes with the lemonade stand theme. A really cute little pattern, which I used on the inside of my card. There's that really pretty red petite flower pattern. Some circles kind of in a tile pattern. Those are all the papers. Now there's also a sheet, and this is the same paperweight as these, of greetings and labels. So as it says here, write your own message or computer journal on the blank cutouts. So you can choose one of these greetings, or you can write your own, or you can stamp it, or you can print it. So lots of different options there, and they're all different occasion greetings, so lots to choose from. Now getting into the die cut sheets, there are 3 sheets of die cuts, and these pop out quite easily, so really fun to use. And there's the second sheet. This one has a fun little greeting: when life gives you lemons, make premium quality lemonade. Love these pink swirls on the bottom. And this eyelet border is really pretty. I also used this on my card. And let me show you what it looks like popped out, because it looks a little bit thinner when you pop it out, so the image here might be a little deceiving. Alright, so that's everything in the Lemonade Stand Artful Card Kit. You're also going to get the ribbon set, and these are all satin. I believe they're 3/8 wide ribbon. Now I have 5 of the 6 ribbons here. Unfortunately I didn't get the yellow, but the yellow does match this yellow perfectly. So there's teal, white, cream, green, and this really bright red. And then we also have the 3mm pearls and the 5mm pearls. They're all self-adhesive, and of course you'll get full sets. Mine are just half gone because I love using the pearls so much. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the very cheerful Love You Sending Blessings card. And join me again next week for another fun project. See you later.